Good evening and welcome, everyone, to this very special multi-platform Christmas Eve gathering. Welcome to those gathered here on the patio at sunset on this remarkably mild December day. Welcome to everyone in their cars who tuned in on the radio. Welcome to those who will join us on our YouTube video at 8 o'clock to share a few moments of reflection as we deepen into Christmas. Thanks to all the volunteers and staff who made these events possible, and to the Board of Trustees for continuing our seasonal Yule Bak tradition by providing our hot chocolate goodie bags don't forget to pick yours up. We wish everyone all the joys of the holiday season in whatever form they may take during this time of anxiety and uncertainty. It is said that once long ago, in another anxious and uncertain time, a baby was born to parents who were in a strange country, far from home, taking shelter in a stable among the familiar domestic animals. They say that the stars danced that night, and the sky was filled with angels, and songs of blessing and good news rang through the heavens. Legends tell of learned astronomers drawn by an inexplicable star who found a child more true than all their calculations. So many signs and wonders, they say, must mean it was a holy night, something miraculous, a promise fulfilled at last, the birth of a king, or even more astounding, a human soul that would live and die and spend itself utterly in the service of love. They have power, these ancient tales. By retelling them, we remind ourselves of life's endless capacity for astonishment and the deep wells of meaning where wisdom awaits our inner discovery. But let us remember also that the sacred and the miraculous come to us almost always in the guise of the ordinary. As the wise teacher Sophia Faz suggested, each night a child is born is a holy night. Each night the sky is filled with starlight and music is a holy night. Each night that good news comes to the poor and humble is a holy night. Each night that the wise and powerful are filled with awe at something greater than themselves is a holy night. Each night that the weary travelers find safe shelter is a holy night. Each night a candle is lighted in the darkness is a holy night. Each night that peace and goodwill are proclaimed once more upon the earth is a holy night. Each night the gift of love is given and received again within our hearts is a holy night. There are many stories associated with this multifaceted midwinter holiday that we are preparing to celebrate. But perhaps none more apropos at the end of this difficult, exhausting, and exasperating year as this fable about the attempt to cancel Christmas altogether. Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot, but the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not. The Grinch hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Now, please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be, perhaps, that his shoes were too tight. But I think the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. Whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, He stood there on Christmas Eve hating the Hughes, staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown at the warm, lighted windows below in the town. For he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now hanging a mistletoe wreath. And they're hanging their stockings, he snarled with a sneer. Tomorrow is Christmas, it's practically here. Then he growled with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming, I must find some way to stop Christmas from coming. For him tomorrow, he knew all the Who girls and boys would break bright and early. They'd rush for their toys. And then, oh, the noise, 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 noise. That's one thing he hated, the noise, 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 noise. And then the Who's, young and old, would sit down to a feast. And they'd feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, 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 feast. They would feast on Who pudding and rare Who roast beast, which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. And then they'd do something he liked least of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand, and the Who's would start singing. They'd sing, and they'd sing, and they'd sing, 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 sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas sing, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years I've put up with it now. I must stop this Christmas from coming. But how? Then he got an idea, an awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. Does anyone here remember what the Grinch's awful idea was? What was he going to do? Steal, that's right. He's going to dress up like Santa and steal Christmas. All the toys and presents, all the decorations, and the food for the feast. And he does that, doesn't he? As the story goes on, that is exactly what he does. There is so much Grinchiness in the world just now. Racism and war and hatred and greed and selfishness. So many people are just plain mean to each other about so many different things. There is so much suffering, hunger and homelessness, shootings and people threatening and insulting each other. And of course, the COVID virus that makes it dangerous for us to be together indoors. It's almost like the year 2021 was an impersonation of the Grinch himself. It can be hard not to feel like someone is trying to steal our Christmas and everything else that makes us happy.
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. You really are a heel. You're as cuddly as a cactus. You're as charming as an eel, Mr. Grinch. I wouldn't touch you with that greasy black peel. You're a monster, Mr. Grinch. Your heart's an empty hole. Your brain is full of spiders. You have garlic in your soul, Mr. Grinch. I wouldn't 29 and 1/2 foot pole. You're one, Mr. Grinch. You're a nasty, wasty skunk. Heart is full of unwashed song. Soul is full of gunk, Mr. Grinch. Follows, and I quote, stink, stank, stunk. You're a vile one, Mr. Grinch. Termites in your spine. You have all the tender sweetness of a seasick crocodile, Mr. Grinch. Two of you, the seasick crocodile. A rotter, Mr. Grinch. You're the king of sinful song. You're Mr. Grinch. Tangled up knots. You nauseate me, Mr. Grinch. The nauseous super gnaw. You're a crooked horse, Mr. Grinch. Three-decker sauerkraut and stew sandwich with arsenic sauce.
So the Grinch takes all the trees and stockings and presents, and he thinks he has stolen Christmas from the Who's, right? But what happens? Listen. It was 1/4 dawn when the Who's still abed, all the Who's still a snooze, when he packed up his sled, packed it up with their presents, their ribbons, the wrappings, the tags and the tinsel, the trimmings, the trappings, 3,000 feet up to the top of Mount Crumpet. He rode with his load to the tip-top to dump it. Pooh-pooh to the Who's, he was grinchiously humming. They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two. Then the Who's down in Whoville will all cry, boo-hoo. That's a noise, said the Grinch, that I simply must hear. So he paused, and the Grinch put a hand to his ear, and he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low, but it started to grow. But this sound wasn't sad. Why, this sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry, very. He stared down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes. Then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or another, it came just the same. It came without ribbons, it came without tags, it came without packages, boxes, or bags. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? And he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. And what happened then? Well, in Whoville, they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light, and he brought back the toys and the food for the feast. And he, the Grinch himself, he carved the roast beast. I like to think that we are a little smarter than the Grinch, don't you? I like to think that we knew it all along, that Christmas doesn't come from the store, that Christmas perhaps means a little bit more, that Christmas perhaps means something even more. I like to think that Christmas Day is always in our grasp, so long as we have hands to clasp. Even it has to be outside in possibly the cold, and that we can welcome Christmas whenever we know that we stand heart to heart and hand in hand. That's what Jesus, the baby that legend says was born far from home in a stable and laid in a manger of hay for a cradle, grew up to teach the world that it is the love in our hearts for each other that makes any day special, that kindness and goodwill and peace on earth is worth more than all the tinsel and trappings and ribbons, if we will only pause long enough to feel it and to light our candles in the darkness and to listen for the song of wonder and love and peace. Will you join me now in the spirit of reverence and aspiration that many call prayer with these words from Rebecca Parr. O Spirit of love and life, on this silent and holy night, we remember the story of the Magi, the wise ones from a distant country, observers of stars, evidence-based seekers, who found their way to kneel before a baby. May we too know reverence for life's most tender mysteries, following the ancient path of science-based searchers for truth. We remember the story of Mary, birth mother of a revolutionary prophet, the fetus in her womb a surprise, her choice a decision to magnify hope, the birth, difficult labor, attended by a beautiful diversity of animals and a ragtag gathering of vulnerable people. May we too be summoned to the cradle of earth's dreams for peace and dedicate our work and our lives to revolutionary love. We remember the story of Joseph, unexpectant father, who embraced this baby as his own, believing that every child has a claim upon our love and care. May we too stand beside the women and children of the world when patriarchal privilege and power threaten their freedom and put their well-being at risk. We remember the story of the angels singing in a cold night to the overtaxed, overworked, overpoliced, overburdened poor, promising peace throughout the earth and goodwill to all. May we echo their song in acts of solidarity and justice for all souls, refugee souls, green souls, disabled souls, Black souls, young souls, transgender souls. May we join the bold, holy movement to bring heaven here to earth among us. May the morning star brighten our hope for a new day, and may laughter strengthen all our prayers. On this silent and holy night, we pray. I invite you now to sing, as we have not done together in a long, long time, the traditional song of Christmas Eve and the sharing of the light. Remember, as your turn comes, to tip the unlighted candle into the flame while holding the lit candle straight. And at the end of the service, don't blow the candle out. That's a good way of spreading aerosols. One of our snuffers will help you extinguish it safely. If anyone is still in your cars and would like to join us now, please do, while Sarah sings the solo verse, and then we will all join together in the familiar words. They're printed on your song sheet if you need them.
Silent night.
In the days to come, when the song of the angel is stilled, when the star in the sky is gone, when the kings and princes are home, when the shepherds are back with their flock, when the Christmas candle has burned itself out, then the work of Christmas begins. To find the lost and heal the broken, to feed the hungry and release the prisoner, to rebuild community, to bring peace among the nations, to make music in the heart, to carry light into the world. Merry Christmas, everyone.
There are times when Christmas doesn't come easily. The way things are in the world, it can be difficult to get excited about the announcement of peace on earth and goodwill to all people when we know how much killing and dying is going on all over the world. Too much of it in my name and yours. There are homeless people sleeping under bridges in the cold, not a mile from here. There are still hungry children, still victims of cruelty and abuse, the whole familiar sorry litany. Nor are our own lives the sane and purposeful progression of days that we have always meant for them to be. Our bodies betray us, our offspring struggle, careers and friendships flounder. At best, there is never really enough time, enough money, enough patience to accommodate everything and everyone. The thing about Christmas is that we never get to have it on our own terms. The coming of Christmas is not about our having fulfilled our responsibilities. It does not await our being in the proper frame of mind. Instead, Christmas comes in the midst of everything else, right smack in the middle of our despair and cynicism and self-disgust. It breaks in on us, ready or not, without waiting for an invitation. Christmas appears in the unlikeliest of forms, confused and in search of itself, like the wise men of old. It isn't like a Domino's pizza. You can't just call up and summon it delivered to your doorstep. But you do have to answer the door when the knock comes. Disheveled, impatient, interrupted in the tyranny of the ordinary, we must open the door wide enough to catch a glimpse of something fleeting and magic, to let in the news that Christmas exists to tell us all, which is that we will only find our blessings within the life we really live, within this world, embedded in its broken dreams. The truth of Christmas never comes easy. If it did, it wouldn't save us from ourselves. It wouldn't be the unexpected and unpredictable transformation of the Spirit that is what we so deeply and unknowingly need. From door to door, the Christmas spirit wanders, and in the midst of chaos, we must open the door when the knock comes. In spite of everything, Christmas itself may be waiting on your front porch. That's our wish for you, anyway. All the beloved stories are about people who find the truth of Christmas in unexpected ways and places, wherever they least thought to look. For of course we know that when we set out to seek success and glory and honor, when we get captured by that quest for greatness, the best things in life often elude us, and we are left strangely unsatisfied. And yet, when we turn aside from our intended path, when we are most driven by a sense of futility and deep thirst, or when we are summoned by the urgent needs of others, behold how so often the reality of what we had set out to find awaits us there in the accidental, the unintended, in what we had thought was a distraction and a delay. Christmas invites us to live the life we are actually given, instead of the life we construct in our heads that has so little power to surprise us with nobility or grace. So much of our time, so much of our energy, we devote to that envisioned life, the one that begins as soon as we graduate from school, as soon as the children are gone, as soon as the raise comes along, as soon as the weight is lost, as soon as the pandemic is over, as soon as the world is the way we want it to be, and everyone plays by our rules. Now, there is nothing wrong with our visions or our ambitions or the improvements that we long to make in the world as we know it. But we are only half alive on a steady diet of that alone, for our plans and our projects and our expectations need to be balanced with the graceful presence of the here and now, with an awareness of those around us, with the compassionate connection that can stop us in our tracks to meet the desperate wants of a fellow being. For any achievement that lacks this capacity is little but dust and ashes and will not satisfy our souls. And so Christmas comes, ready or not, in the midst of all our hecticness to remind us that the only time we really have is now. The only place we can truly live is here. The only people we can meaningfully love and serve are those we connect with at each moment as the days hurry by. This is the understanding that lights the truth of Christmas in every heart. This is the generosity that carries us out of our self-concern and into the more abundant life we all long for. This is the love that is the lesson and the gift of Christmas that runs through all the legends and the stories, a love that transforms our own spirits and helps us to mend the brokenness of the world.
Christmas future is far away. Christmas past is past.
Christmas present is here today, bringing joy that will last.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. Next year all our troubles will be out of sight. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Make the Yuletide gay. Next year all our troubles will be miles away. Once again, as in olden days, happy golden days of yore. Faithful friends who were dear to us will be near to us once more. Someday soon we all will be together if the fates allow. Until then we'll have to muddle through somehow. So have yourself a merry little Christmas now.
Whatever faith we have, let Christmas confirm it. Whatever hope is in us, let Christmas exalt it. Whatever love abides with us, let Christmas make it more tender and more deep. The message of Christmas does not age with time, for it utters the profound persuasions of the human heart, and these, being forever connected with eternal ideals, will never grow old and cannot die. It promises us that the deepest hunger of our hearts shall be satisfied, that the broken shall be made whole, that light shall be shed within every place of darkness, and that upon every uplifted face shall shine down the radiance of peace. This is the sacred illumination discerned in every age by scientist and prophet, by sage and child. Many there have been over the centuries and around the globe who were guardians of this light. They have carried it to the oppressed places of the world. They have dispelled ignorance and superstition and cruelty and injustice. They have been way showers and light bringers. They have thrown back the frontiers of shadow and planted the sacred torches boldly in far and perilous places. Now it is our watch. Now the light will move forth from here to the sad and songless streets of the world only if our hearts carry it and our hands shield it from the winds of selfishness. Many are the windows of the world that will stay darkened unless we light them. It is our watch now. Come then, dear hearts. Come, dreamers and singers and poets. Come, builders. Come, healers and teachers, parents and lovers. Carry this sacred flame to make bright the windows of the world. It is we who must be keepers of this light. It is we who must carry the enduring promise and the imperishable fire. It is our watch now. A Merry Christmas, my dears, and may the spirit of the season bless us, every one.